In today's quantum training session, we'll be looking at the quantum web service. This web service lives on your Dino computer. It is a built-in service. You don't have to do anything other than installing Quantum. Basically, as with any web service or website, you need to have networking enabled. So that means the Dino computer needs to have Wi-Fi or a wired connection. You need to have a Wi-Fi router or switch that the Dino computer either is physically or Wi-Fi connected to. The client who would access your website also needs to connect to that same Wi-Fi router. So it's typically going to be that device would be in your client area or in your Dino Bay or in your shop somewhere that both parties can connect to it. And basically, once you have that connection, the client is going to be able to browse this website that's on your Dino computer. And on that website, you're going to be able to publish graphs and CSV files for the client to review as the tune is happening. You know, this satisfies the client's desire to be engaged with what's happening, but it also relieves you of the distraction of having the client bugging you, looking over your shoulder to see what's going on. You control the narrative. You basically publish what you want them to see. It's on them to pull it up and look at it. Once they pull it up, they could save it to their smart device. They could publish it, to social media if they want. But the key is it's a pretty lightweight activity for you to do as the tuner or operator. And you can publish, multiple runs in this way. And so they really can, have something to do while they're waiting on the tune to be finished. All right, so with that prologue complete, let's dive right in. The web service or website that's on your Dino computer is a networking service. It basically allows another network device to connect to it. So we've got to have some form of networking that's going to make that happen. Most typically this is going to be a Wi-Fi router or switch. The idea would be the Dino computer connects to that router or switch, as does the client. And basically with both of them on the same subnet, this is a sort of a networking term they're sort of tightly connected. There's almost, I don't want to say it's a party line, but you have to be on the same subnet in this local scenario for this to work. This is not a public website that you could browse, from far away. This is one that will only work in the Dino Bay. Okay, so I'm going to show you where you get some of this networking information that you're going to need. So I'm going down to my tray icons, and I'm going to click on the Wi-Fi one, and you can see I'm connected to Angry Bear, and I'm going to go and look at its properties, and I'm going to scroll down here, and we can see that I'm connected to 192.168.8.232. Now, this is my connection, okay, my computer, my landscape. Your results or your IP address is going to be different. The key is record what it is. I'm just showing you how you can easily get to it. So now that you've gotten to it, we can close out that. And this is a piece of information, that IP address, that you're going to need to give to the client. And so then what we can do is we can go into Quantum and do the next step, which is to go to our setup, to our program settings, and make sure that the Quantum Web services are enabled. They are, so we're good there. I'm going to take a little aside here, give you a little look under the covers, just to demystify this a little bit. If you look out on your C drive, you'll have a folder called inetpub. Inside inetpub is www.root. Inside that, it's empty right now, because I guess I haven't run the website on this computer before. So I'll just close that out or minimize it for right now. But that is the root folder that your Dino sessions are going to be published in. So we can go here with Quantum. We can open up a session. And I can choose, we'll choose run 1 for this demonstration. I can go here and I can publish the graph. Okay, so you see that? I've got the graph selected. I go to the file menu and I can publish the graph. Boom. So now if I go out and look here, what was empty before is no longer empty. So, well, today isn't 11/11/2017. The next level folder in here is not the date that I publish it, but it is the session date. So if you do something, retroactively, like I'm doing here, you're going to get a date in history. So we have a roll-up of that date. Here is the actual session on that date. Here is the graph. I open the graph. Okay, so that was locally opening. I'm just trying to show you under the covers where these things are. So if you have any difficulties, you can make sure at least that the publish part is working. Even if you can't, I don't want to say can't, but as you're working through getting this set up. So that is the pretty simple for the operator. You decide what you want to publish. You publish it. Okay, so to keep this all on one screen, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here and open a browser. So use your imagination and remember that I said that I was at 192.168.8.232. Then we have to put in what's called a port number, and in this case it is 8081. Okay, so we have all that. I hit it, and there is my directory. Remember when we looked out with File Manager, we saw a root of 11/11/2017. So what do? We drill down. So we drill down, and so I guess I double click there. So we're inside this session. We're on that. Boom. So now I'm in the browser showing the graph. So this is what would happen on your client's smart device or phone. Okay. So that's the basic sequence from getting set up, acquiring the IP address, publishing, notifying the user what IP address to use to connect to your server, and showing that they can get there. Now, there's one other wrinkle in all of this, that you may be running an antivirus program or a firewall program. And so what you've got to do is possibly turn off your firewall, um, or do what's called whitelisting of Quantum as a um, service that can be accessed. So there are a lot of different antivirus programs, so I can't go through them all. The simplest thing is turn off your antivirus program when you're doing this. Um, the connection will not work. Basically, this is the major reason it won't work, is if you're running a firewall. So, please, find out how to disable it if you're running antivirus, and you should be good to go. And that concludes today's lesson.